Welcome to the Divorce Dad Playbook podcast. I'm Dan Levy.
I'm Scott Levy.
Scott, I usually have been telling you what we're going to talk about on some of the episodes, just a general sense of what we're going to say. I didn't tell you what I want to talk about on this one. So instead of me telling you, can we get right to the theme and I can play it for you?
I mean, I have no choice.
I mean, you could say no. I would play it anyway. But
exactly.
This is the greatest American music
I'm sitting
teller
in
ever.
the railway station, got a ticket for
This is
my
Paul Simon.
destination.
It's Paul Simon.
Yikes. I like Paul Simon.
This is the greatest. No offense to Bob Dylan. Paul Simon is the greatest American songwriter of all time.
And guitar in hand, and every stop is neatly planned for a poet and a
You know what song this is, right?
Yeah, but I don't know that I know all the words.
Homeward Bound.
Homeward Bound.
I wish I was.
Right.
I wish I was Homeward Bound. Okay.
So
What am I?
that's where I wanted to go with this. No, you're good. We're good. So that's where I wanted to go.
Am I moving? Am I moving back down to
Philly?
Philly?
No, but you talked over the entire thing. So thanks for that.
I think everyone got the sense that it was Paul Simon, Homeward Bound.
Trying to get a sense of the mood of the day. So I'm driving home after I dropped the kids off the other day, and the kids had told me that they did they did some treatment to the wall of the fireplace. They painted it, and they were all excited about what they did. And then I got a video call that there's a new light bulb in the bedroom that changes all different colors, and I'm getting a video of all the different colors changing and stuff. And I thought to myself, and look, I mean, we talked a lot about different days that matter in your life and stuff. We are creeping up on the 1 year anniversary of me not living there anymore. And it's really tough. I miss my old life. I wish I was homeward bound. And I haven't felt that way. I've missed the house. I obviously miss time with the kids. But this was the first time where I'm it actually, Scott, I actually said in my head, man, I wish they would have asked me for my opinion on how to do that. And I was like, why? My opinion doesn't matter. They have their own life without me. And I always knew that. I knew that was going to happen, but I don't feel like I have that life with the kids yet, because I'm here in stasis. I'm just sitting in purgatory, waiting to go one way or the other. Am I going to get a house or am I going to live on the street? Tune in, let's find out. So I don't feel like I can develop those things, to develop those customs and traditions and stuff yet, because there's nothing to tradish, if you will. And then I see what they're doing at the house, and I'm like, how did I give that up? How was I so willing to be okay, you get the house? I couldn't afford it, but there's so much more that came with that house that I didn't anticipate. And I know that you had a different circumstance when you got divorced, but it kind of sucks that you don't get that. You can never get that again.
I need to unpack that a little bit, because yes, I had no idea what you're about to say, and I'm sorry that you're feeling that way.
Oh, it's nothing to be sorry about. I just,
No, I'm saying I heartfelt, I understand, and I've felt that way before too. So I'm relating to how you're feeling, and I think most people who have been through divorce can relate to it. I don't think that my situation was much different at all. It was different from you as a spectator of my situation because you weren't living it, but I understand the pain. I understand the pain of what you're going through. I understand the pain of what anyone goes through when they go through a situation like this, and it comes up upon an anniversary, and you kind of feel like, wow, how important was I in that relationship if they were just so easily able to move on and be happy?
Right.
And it's a hard realization, right? There's a hard realization. I think added to your situation is the fact that, and I know ultimately this did not happen for me because we ultimately sold the marital home. But there was a time, you probably don't know this, there was a time that we were talking about it, and I was going to stay in the home
No, I do
because
remember that.
financially
Yeah.
speaking, right? Financially speaking, it was probably the best move. And even looking back, it probably was the best move. But candidly, I don't know that that would have been the best move for the kids. And that was our choice. Everyone makes a different choice. And
That's
whether
what's
it's because
difficult
of
here, Scott.
finances, yeah, because of finances and because of what's going on. And I get it. But Dan,
But I
what
think this
you
is the best decision for the kids. I think that we made the right decision
okay,
for the kids. I do.
good. So you should feel
100%.
good
I would
about,
not
you should
change
feel
that.
good. You should feel good about that part because that's actually what is most important, right?
Oh,
Like
no,
we
no,
joke
no.
around a lot about this.
I
Like we
know.
joke around a lot about this. We joke around about our lives with the kids, outside the kids, you know, this new life, etc. But it doesn't mean that you're not, you don't have feelings. Doesn't mean you don't have emotions. Doesn't mean certain things don't hit harder at different times. And I think I've had the same kind of feelings. I'm sure everyone who's been through this, who's listening, can relate to what you're going through right now. And it that part does suck, but I don't want you to think that it's never going to happen again, right?
No,
Like
I don't think
the
that.
kids are still
I don't.
young. The kids are still young. You may feel like you're living in this like purgatory like scenario because you don't know if you're eventually going to get your own place, like your own house, or if you're going to keep renting, or like you don't know what the future brings. And by the way, Dan, you don't need to know what the future brings. You need to make
Well,
it, you need to make it through today. You need
I
to
know.
make it through the next day with the kids. And you need to let them and appreciate the fact that they're happy. And I know it's really
No, and
hard
all
for
of that, Scott, I do. And that's why it's, and again, like, that's part of the reason why it's difficult is because what you said a couple minutes ago is like, look, I spent, God, probably 10 years, but certainly the better part of, and not better in quality, certainly better in quantity of time over the last 3 or 4 years, telling my ex she'd be better off without me. And it's hard. One, I joke around about this now. It's like when you tell somebody that they're better off without you, eventually they're going to agree with you, and then they're going to be like, "Let's try that," and that's what happened. But now, like a year out, it's kind of like, well, fuck, I was right, 100%. And I'm not saying my life's not better. I mean, trust me, my mental outlook and my feeling on stuff like way, innumerably better. Like there's no
completely,
quantifiable way to say how much better I am feeling as a person, how much better my life is right now, except for that void, that thing that I used to take for granted. And now you don't, and it doesn't happen every day. Like two reasons why it happened. One, like I said, it's coming up on sort of a year of me not being there, which really wasn't even the catalyst for it. It was like just stuff being done in the house, like just upgrades and things that like I always used to either have to do or was certainly a part of the decision making that just happens. And it's like, wow, all of this stuff, like I wasn't necessary. If anything, I was probably just a hindrance for the last 10 years. Like more stuff would have gotten done. Cooler things would have gotten done had I not just, and I know that's me getting in my own head about it.
no.
But here's the thing. And this is where you have a little bit of a different perspective on from when you were, when you got divorced. When we started doing this show, and I've mentioned my ex quite a bit in our dealings and stuff, but one of the things after the first however many episodes, my ex said to me, "I'm not telling you anything about my life because you're going to end up talking about it on this show." And so I have no idea what's going on outside of like between me, her, and the kids. And that's fine. That's how she wants it. That's fine. And she doesn't want to know anything about my life. But I don't know. You remember, what was like the third or fourth episode? I'm like, my ex is dating, like breaking news. Dun, dun, dun. I don't know where that stands. I don't know what situation it's in. She could be still with that guy she started dating over the summer. She could be with the third person since, or with no one. I have no idea. But I just based on context clues, I think that she might still be with this person. If that's the case, this is where I got tripped out, because now she's like September, October, November, December, January. Like we're going on like 6 months. That's half a year. That's probably around the time that most people would introduce a significant other to your children. Around that. I mean, it depends on the people.
Maybe.
And she said, like, that's not important to her. Like she wants it to be about the kids. And I definitely appreciate and respect that. But this is the first time that it really hit me. I've come to terms with being on my own. I have. It sucks some days, but some days it's amazing. I've come to terms with not seeing the kids every day. I actually enjoy my time to myself. And then I do appreciate the time that I have them more than I used to. All of that I'm totally on board with. But the thing I haven't had to deal with yet, and the thing that is a freight train coming at me, is there's going to be some other guy in my kids' lives, and they don't have a say in it. Like, their mom is dating some guy and she's going to introduce them, and then bam, that guy's in their life. And if I do the same thing, like if I start dating someone and I'm serious about it, and I like just one day I'm like, hey kids, guess what? Me and so-and-so are dating and we really like each other. And now this person's in your life. And that trips me out. And I know every divorced person deals with this. I get it. Yeah. But now I understand when people on these dating apps say they don't want drama. They want somebody who's been divorced for a while. Cause like I'm upside down from this, and it's nothing. It's hypothetical.
Yeah. Well, so the kids do have a say in everything, right? Whether they have a physical say in who you might be dating and bringing and introducing to them before or after the fact, they certainly have a say in it. And they might have a say in it to your ex. They might have a say in it to you. They have voices, right? And they can use those voices. I guess my question to you, Dan, because it's easy for anybody at this point in time, and this is why I talk about it too, where I'm like, I don't want to date somebody who's separated, because they have a lot of stuff to unpack, right? And this is like the stuff they're unpacking. Just because this is a lot of what we talk about on the show, and I know we'll get into other things, but this is important. Are your children happy?
At present, sure. Yes. Currently, yes.
Okay. So are they happy? Are they happy when they're with you?
I mean, they're probably annoyed sometimes, but yeah, where are you going with this?
Come on, dude. Come on.
Yes,
I mean,
fine.
like, your kids are annoyed by me all the time. They're happy when they're with you.
Where are you going with? I get the point. Don't baby me. Where are you going with this?
I'm not babying you. I'm explaining something that's actually really important to everyone who thinks like this. They were explaining, don't do that, dude. Don't do that. Don't pour out your heart and then not let me ask a few questions about it.
I don't think you understand how condescending you sound. So I'm just trying to get to the point.
I'm not sounding condescending. I'm actually trying to explain this out. So you need to give me a second to explain this out. Did they share with you the fact that they were doing what they were doing at the old house? Did they share with you the lights or whatever it was? Did you get that from them?
Yes.
Okay. So what they did was they're happy. They were including you the best way they could in what's happening in their lives, not what's happening in your ex's life, what's happening in their life, whether they're with you or not. At the end of the day, that's what matters. Like, it doesn't matter about these other things. You're not with her anymore. Like, she can make her own decisions. And I understand that that's painful. I had to live through the same thing.
You can't just say it doesn't matter and then it doesn't affect you. It doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things.
I'm not saying it doesn't affect you. I'm not saying it doesn't affect you.
Well, that's what I'm telling me. I don't think it matters either. I'm not saying I'm asking them to change their lives. I love that they keep me in the loop on stuff.
You said it's a freight train coming your way. And I'm telling you that the freight train coming your way has two smiling kids on it saying like, hey, Dad,
no. That's not happy. The part that's the freight train. The freight train is the fact that a clock is ticking on some random guy who I've never met being in my kids' lives. That's the freight train. That's the freight train.
The
rest of it, I'm dealt with. The rest of it's fine.
And do you think your
don't ask that question because you don't want to know the answer. Go ahead.
You have no idea what question I was going to ask.
Okay. Go ahead. Ask the question.
I don't know why you bring things up and then fight any kind of response.
I appreciate that. Just ask the question because I'm afraid of the answer to this one. Go ahead.
Do you think she would bring somebody into her life that would be harmful to your kids? Do you think your kids are unsafe around someone that your ex would be dating? Seriously, for 6 months?
I am nervous.
Okay.
That I don't even know how to fucking answer this, man. This is why I told you not to ask this question.
You're overthinking it. Like your first reaction. I'm going to answer. I'm going to into their lives.
I'm going to answer it this way. I trust my ex with everything that I've ever had in my life, including co-parenting. This is a new experience.
Understood.
I trust everything that we have experienced, everything that I know we have done along the way. So it stands to reason I should trust this as well. I do not believe that she would knowingly or willingly bring someone in who might not fit the situation, but I don't know because I haven't lived this yet. And all I hear, I mean, there are some great step parents, and I hope that a lot of them are listening right now. And please, Dan at divorcedadplaybook.com and Scott at Divorce Dad Playbook. You can do us on Instagram at Divorce Dad Playbook. Tell me I'm overreacting. Like, I would love to hear people tell me that. Please do. If you are a step parent, or if you've had a step, like, I didn't go through this growing up, right? I went through two parents who just like scowled at each other all the time. And to be honest, I'm divorced because of that, because my ex looked at our parents and said, I'm not doing that. That is not going to be my life. And I don't blame her. But I never had the step parent come into my life and have all of a sudden it's like, hey, this guy that mommy really loves is now going to be your new dad. And if he's not your new dad, because you have a dad still, he's still going to be here every morning. And he's the one now making you breakfast or packing your lunch, whether you like it or not. This guy, like, you can't pick your parents. Your parents are biologically who you are. But when this happens, when you're a teenager or whatever, I didn't have to go through that. And so now I'm going to have to watch my kids go through something that I never experienced. And it freaks me out because not only can I not counsel them because I don't know what it feels like, Scott, it's my replacement in all of those tasks, not in life.
It's not a replacement. It's not a replacement.
How
It's
do
just
you
not a
see that
replacement.
not?
You get, Dan, you
I
have.
know you. I'm asking you legitimately because you've done this. Like, how do you
I
not?
understand, right? And I don't think that you were in a position where you were paying attention over the past 8 years to what my life was like. And I'm not trying to be condescending to the emotions and feelings you're going through at this point in time, because I get it. The only difference was I didn't have anyone to share it with. I was going through all the same feelings and emotions, and I had nobody to share with. You right, a long time ago. You don't think I felt very similar to the way you felt? I mean, my ex has been with the same guy
that's the part I'm talking to you about. That's why,
yeah. And you know what? It's taken me a long time to be okay with it. It's weird. It's weird. It's awkward. I wish it weren't. I wish like I talk to my ex all the time. Like, her boyfriend doesn't really acknowledge me after all these years, which I think is so weird. I think it's so weird. And that's not on me. I don't think I should need to be like begging this guy to be my friend. He's around my kids all the time. He's got lots of great things to do. I'm assuming that he's good to my kids. My kids ultimately over time have talked to me about the things that they do together. You don't think when I'm sitting here on a weekend by myself and they're at the lake riding, jet runner, or what are they called? Jet skis or wave runners, right? I combine those things.
Wave skis.
You don't think two sets of emotions are going through my head? One being like, I'm not doing that with my kids, and that sucks. And like, he's replacing me in the fun zone with my kids. But at the same time, you don't think for a second. I also think like, you know what? Stop being so selfish, Scott, and recognize the fact that your kids are having fun with their mom and their mom's significant other now.
But is it being selfish? You're allowed to have emotions. That's what I said before. Like, it's not being selfish. If you would have said to them, I wish you didn't go there because I was going to take you there, I might them feel guilty. That's being selfish.
But maybe I did. Maybe, and I don't know this, right? Maybe earlier on, I did make them feel bad. Not intentionally. Maybe I felt bad, and it by them just being around me made them feel bad, because I do know there were times earlier on that they wouldn't tell me that they were going to the lake, and that hurt my feelings worse. And you know what? I did it to myself, and that's what I realized when I really realized that I was okay with this, and that I had to trust my ex that she was going to, have somebody around my kids when I wasn't there that was going to be okay for them. When I came to that realization, it made it better for everybody. It made it better for me. It made it better for the kids, because honestly, the kids weren't telling me where they were, and I was tracking them. Like, they have Life 360 on their phones. I knew that they were going up and down, up and down, up and down on a boat, on a lake, because clearly they weren't driving a car on a lake, and I could see that. So I had to come to terms with the fact that this is part of their life without me. What I do have is time to myself to build a new life. And when I have them, I'm going to be as present as possible to make sure that they have the best chance of growing up with two healthy parents, whether they feel like they had a mom and a stepdad and then just a dad who, not a stepmom. Obviously, I don't have someone in my life that's like that.
Right.
I can't control that. I can only control what I do with them when they're with me, and to make sure that they feel comfortable with what they're doing with my ex and her boyfriend. And you're right. You're right to be emotional about it. And it took me a long time to come to real terms with that. But you eventually do, and you eventually are happy because your kids are happy.
I appreciate that. I genuinely do. And I think about this a lot, like, and this is why I want to talk about this, because like I'm driving the other day and I'm thinking to myself, like my logic brain comes in, and I don't want to get like all DBT on everybody, but like your wise mind comes in, and you think like, I want what's best for my kids. And if what's best for my kids is a happy dad and a happy mom, like I'm making steps toward that happiness. She's making steps toward her happiness. It's not together, and that's okay. And I think the kids are fine because of that, probably better because of that. And I will grant that. I think the issue that you just mentioned is like, it's not about me. So like the wise mind part, like the logic in my head is like, just be happy for your ex that she found somebody that she, and again, like, I don't even know, like I'm speculating wildly on this.
Right.
But let's just like, at some point it's going to happen. If it's not whoever this, it's going to be at some point. And just like, be happy for her because you love her and she's awesome and she deserves to be happy. And so in my head, like I get all that, but it's almost like, am I blocking feelings because I know that's how I need to act? Am I not dealing with the emotional side of it? Or am I dealing, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, cause I'm acknowledging it and I'm trying to process it. So I am dealing with that. Like, and to your point, like, I don't want to sound jealous. I don't want to sound any of these things, especially in front of the kids. And so, but it's just weird because like, I know how I should be handling this, and yet your body doesn't feel that way. And these are just different, like everything always processes through my brain. So when my brain is like, no, dude, 1 + 1 = 2. And you're like, but 3 is so much better. And it's like, no, but 1 + 1 = 2. And it's like, yeah, but can't it be 3 for a little bit more?
Look, I mean, I think that, we talk about this because it's something real that you're going through, and that I've been through it. And I think that I am, for myself and to a certain degree to others, I just have experience on this. Right. And I understand what you're doing. And obviously, this is stuff that you need to reconcile and talk to your therapist about too. And, I never think that anyone listening should just take my advice on this, because
we did start talking about that on Wednesday, and it was at the very end. I did it on purpose because I wanted to wait until the end. And now next week we're going to talk more about that. So,
which is great, because I also just want to make sure that people are listening to me and I'm giving my advice from my experiences. And so it's not always going to fit your particular mold. I know your situation better than other people that might be listening. So I'm just mindful of that. What I will say is, and this might seem ridiculous and simple, but this is the way that I think, because I'm a simpleton in many respects, that you start off every episode of this podcast with some sort of music. Right? It's part of our thing. Like, you always pick a song, like for how you're feeling, or, and like today it was more emotional one, whatever it may be. I love music. I'm not doing a promo for this, but, I have sitting right here my awesome speaker that I now take around the house with me. Every time I get a free moment, I turn it on and I can, play music at whatever appropriate level for how I'm feeling. And I think music, for me, I think for a lot of people, but I'll talk about me, music helps me get through my days. Music pumps me up when I need to get pumped up, kind of like when we were back in high school or getting ready for a big game or whatever it was. You would listen to our Sony Walkman. I think we had at that point.
You were old enough to. I had a Discman. You had the Walkman.
Nice. I had the Walkman, and I would listen to my GNR tape over and over. Welcome to the Jungle, and I would just get fired up for my games.
Can I tell you a funny story about that? Can I just do a quick GNR thing?
In 1 second. But I also think that music helps you in so many different ways. And sometimes you just listen to the melody, and sometimes you listen to the words. And you know what? I'm okay to admit the fact that, like, and everything is not so easy. We've talked about this before. For me, like, I might make things look easier than they are, But
Mhm.
there are plenty of times where, and I've talked about this in the past two transitions. So you think about like when you transition your children, you start to then think about your old life. You think about your ex. You think about what changes are going on in their life, not your own and everything. There are times where I've had great music playing at the transition time, and I've driven home and I've been like, I'm gonna be good. Like I'm gonna go make myself some dinner, watch a movie, whatever it might be. There are times
Right.
where I've transitioned and I barely could hold back the tears as I've dropped off my kids, and I would play what's the song? I should know this. You'll know it in a second. Of it always seems to come on when I'm at my most emotional state, and I'm listening to like whatever.
All by myself.
No, not all by
All
myself.
by
No. Which would be which I would actually
Don't
laugh about
wanna
that a little bit.
be
No.
all.
It's about the guy the guy's too busy for his kid to play ball. Like
Cats in the Cradle.
Cats in the
Really?
Cradle.
Cats in the Cradle?
I couldn't remember it for a second. I knew you know it. Don't make fun of me. So
When you're coming home, son, I don't know
right,
when.
right. So
We'll get
me
together
having two
then.
sons, dropping them off,
You
knowing I'm
know
not going
we'll
to see them
have
for a
a
few
good
days.
time
That
then.
song seems
I
to
could sing that
always
whole
come
song.
on right at the most inopportune times. And you know what?
That's hilarious.
I drive.
Station singles.
Well, it's part of my playlist. Whatever just comes on.
You put it on your playlist. Of course, it's gonna show.
No. Well, I understand. No, it's related to it because
Play
it's like
sad
a Beatles,
mix.
It's a
What's this
Beatles.
song?
No, it's a Beatles playlist that's intertwined. Whatever. The same time frame.
Right.
In any case,
Sure.
inevitably that comes on, and you know what? I cry myself from my ex's house. I don't go there as much anymore because Jack drives, but I would cry myself back home, and maybe I cry myself a little bit once I got into my house. You know what? Felt good. It sucks, but it felt good to just kind of let it out. And so all I'm saying is that we all have coping mechanisms. We all have ways to do it. You also have. I'm witness to this because I was there when it was not good a year ago,
Yeah.
and you are a way better person, presumably thus a way better dad than you were a year ago. I know dates hurt. I know seeing other people move on without you hurts, but you're a way better person, Dan. And so
Well,
you
I
just got to
appreciate
remember that.
that.
You've done a lot of work on yourself, and you got to remember that.
All right. So two quick things before I want to move on to something else, like very quick to end it. One, the pay off the Guns N' Roses thing. I talked to Mom about this like not long ago. When I was in 5th grade, what I asked everyone to get me for my birthday were different patches of like hair bands, like glam bands, to sew on to my jean jacket,
I remember.
which I had a giant Guns N' Roses thing on the back. And so this is funny. Guns N' Roses at that time had 2 logos. They had like the one circle logo with the guns and the roses. And that's what I ended up having on the back of mine. What I really wanted is the one with the skulls, which was the front cover of Appetite for Destruction. And Mom convinced me that I couldn't get that giant iron on because she thought that the skulls would scare me because I was like a kid who frightened easily. And that was her logic. And it wasn't until later when I was an adult and I said this to her, she didn't remember this. And I'm like, it was a cross. It was all of them on a cross. Like their heads were at each corner of the cross. And I'm like, that's why you wouldn't let me get that, because you didn't want the Jewish kid going into 5th grade wearing a giant cross on his back. That's what it was. It had nothing to do with skulls. Yeah, there were cartoons. She said, I don't remember. It was 100%. Cartoon skulls were going to scare me. For my whole life, I was like, why would she not let me get that? That wasn't scary at all. I was like, it was a cross. There you go. So that's the GNR story.
Interesting. I don't remember that part of it, obviously, but you lived that part.
Yeah.
But that's cool.
Well, the other thing, I mean, what was it? 2 episodes ago, I played that Best Coast song that just happened to come on the radio every time that I dropped the kids off. Where like everything has changed and I like it this way. Like, so you're right. I mean, I understand that. Yeah. I'm in the top 8% of listeners on Spotify in 2020 for Run the Jewels, because I put the entire RTJ4 album and some of 3 on my like upbeat mix. When I go to the soccer field and I want to like run around and actually like get some exercise, I listen to them. So much so that Max has to do a Black History Month is coming up, and he has to do a thing on like a lesser note, like not just like a super famous, like the teacher doesn't want like, oh, George Washington Carver made the peanut or whatever, and like just people more contemporary. And I told him that I would like him to do his thing on Paul Robeson, who was like a legendary statesman and actor and singer and great football player in the College Football Hall of Fame, went to Rutgers. I almost had a statue actually commissioned. Like I was designing it with the guy who's making the statue. Very important person in my life, Paul Robeson. And so if he doesn't do him, I want him to do Killer Mike. from Run the Jewels. And of course, the kids are like, I can't do somebody named Killer Mike. I was like, he's not an actual killer. He's a rapper. Like, Michael Render is his name. Just goes by Killer Mike. And so I'm trying to convince Max to do that in 5th grade, to talk to. And I was like, I bet you we could get him. I bet you we could reach out to him and be like, my son is doing a 5th grade Black History Month story. I would like him to interview you. I bet you he would do it. So if Killer Mike, if you're listening or somebody knows Killer Mike, send this to him. I got a 10-year-old who wants to talk to you.
Nice plug.
Thank you. If he's listening.
Might be. Has he been through a divorce?
No, he's from all accounts happily married. I believe he has 3 or 4 children with his wife. So no, because I thought about that too. Yeah. We could like sideswipe and get him on the show, and then I could just plop my kid here and be like, so when you were 11, like whatever. I don't know why my kid all of a sudden has a cracky voice.
Yeah, I don't think he has a cracky voice, but in any case.
One other thing, can I pay this off? I don't know if you see this behind me. For the people who are watching on YouTube, I have like a picture of my kids, and then I have like this big Marvel Comics thing, because that's obviously important to me. I have the Rutgers helmet here. I got Baby Yoda in the background. There's a lot of visual stuff in my world. You see the little addition? Got this around the holidays. I've had it for a while. Yeah, I'm going to pull it up to this. It's not a doll. It's a Pop Funko. We have hundreds of Pop Funkos. Put it up to the screen for the people who are watching on YouTube.
Jim Henson.
Look at that.
Former Terp.
Jim Henson with Kermit the Frog.
Literally former Terp.
This is now like 1 or 1A on my list of Pop Funkos. So
I feel like you're not recognizing the fact that I keep saying former Terp.
He went to Maryland. Cool. Good for you.
He's a proud alumni with me. That's amazing. Love Jim Henson.
Well, there you go. So do I. I do want to say this. So we've been talking a lot about dating and dating apps recently. And at the end of the last episode, I got a text from our good friend Nicole Ananda, and she's like, when am I coming on? When are we doing this Ask This Expert? So she and I were talking, and the next episode that we're doing, I think we're going to try and tape it this week. It'll be up early next week. And so if you have questions for Nicole about anything, relationships, sex, I have some questions that I have now come that I think will be good questions for everyone. I know you have some as well. But we'll try to get to the ones certainly that people ask us, because that's important. We want to be a voice for our audience. Email me, Dan@divorcedadplaybook.com, and I'll make sure that we funnel those into the conversation.
Can't even imagine,
but I know you're excited.
I can't imagine what song you're gonna pick for that one, because the last one was "Let's Talk About Sex, Baby." I
already know what song. Do you want me to play it now, or should I just?
No, just wait until we do it. It's all good. Wait, so you know that I'm excited to talk to her? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I know you're excited to talk to her.
I'm intrigued by what it is she actually does.
So, all right, we can end this on before you get your soliloquy to end the show. I have two things. We can end it on something that Nicole and I talked about, which I think is really interesting as it pertains to like dating and dating apps. Or we could save that for when we're with her. But it's a good story. Or I could pay off the pregnant woman story, because I actually had someone who's now listening to the show text me and be like, I need to know what happened with this pregnant lady. And I was like, I haven't paid that off on the show yet. I probably should do that, because we've talked about it 2 episodes in a row. So take your pick. Which of those two do you want to end with? We can keep teasing the pregnant lady, like just keep annoying people.
No, I don't want to keep teasing the pregnant lady. I just am not sure. Is this like a fetish or something? Is this, are there more pregnant women out there that you're looking to date? Like, I'm just trying to figure out, like.
I'll tell you one thing though, if you're dating a pregnant woman, then you can't get her pregnant. I mean, some logic to that.
Ooh. We're gonna have Nicole on soon enough. I'm sure that'll be our by far most shared episode ever.
All right, I'll cliff notes the thing that I was talking about. I'll cliff notes the thing with Nicole. I was talking to her about some of the stuff that we're working on, and as like you're now on the dating apps, we were talking about what apps work. She actually asked me what app should I go on, because she was with someone and they have recently split up, similar to you. And she's like, I want like she wants you actually, which is funny. Not you in particular, but like the model of human she wants is basically everything that you. Yeah.
What's wrong with me?
She lives like 2 hours from you. Do you want to drive to the like southwest?
I get matched with whatever Bumble.
Dude,
I don't
if
know.
that
What do you call
happens,
it? With,
God
like,
bless you, both
with,
of you.
like,
That'd be amazing. I mean, like, two people I care about a great deal. So, like, good for you. Point being, everything she was listening.
Nicole, if you're listening,
She's listening. Everything that she was saying, I was like, well, I know somebody who can do all that for you. So she was asking. So I mentioned Hinge, and I said that you and I are probably gonna actually like sign you up for Hinge one day on the show, and we were talking about that. I said that's what I'm working on. I'm doing a lot of research and blah blah blah. And we have this, she's going to be one of our experts that we talked about on these panels that we have to help people with their dating and whatnot. And she said, I said, I'm talking about like the one thing that people do wrong. And she's like, is it put a fish in their picture? And she got really mad. And I'm like, I've come around on the fish. She's like, what are you talking about? She's like, I hate that. And I said, here's why I've come around on the fish. Because I have seen many women who have fish in their profiles. Many women. And she's like, what?
yeah,
Women do that too? And I'm like, here's the thing. Men who are doing that are not looking for someone like Nicole. They're looking for someone who is outdoorsy, who wants to get on a boat on the weekend, who wants to go fish or hunt or do those things.
Yeah.
There are millions of women who want to do that. And it's very myopic of us to laugh at that and think like, oh, the fish. And I've come around on the gym selfies. If you're looking for the target, if you just like are vain and you're like Christian Bale in American Psycho, where you're like looking at yourself in the mirror, like fine, you're an asshole. But like, if you're doing that because you're like, I want somebody who also has a physique like this, and it's a superficial relationship, have at thee. And so I said to her, hold on. Let me just, and I said to her, I was like, I had just come from the store. And I said, you're out there looking for what you want. You're out there shopping for a mate, right? That's what we're doing.
Yes.
Said, when you go to the store and you have a checklist of 20 items you need to buy, you're walking around the store buying those items. Are you mad at the other 4,000 items in the store that you don't want to buy? Like, I can't find my tomato soup. God damn this chicken noodle. Get out of my way. No, because it's just there and you have to figure out a way to navigate around it and find the thing you want. So why do we get mad at the fish person? Why do we get mad at like, it's just hilarious to me. Like, if you don't get mad at the cup of noodles, then don't get mad at the person who is just looking for something that's not you. And she's like, oh my God. Like, but and so I'm trying to go in it with that perspective. Like, I'm never going to get mad at anyone's profile, even if they're wasting time. You know what? Like, they're doing it for a reason. That's not why I'm there.
I think you get mad at people's profiles. I don't get mad at people's profiles. I think to take your analogy a little bit further.
Have you read some of the Tinder bios? People get very mad at other people.
I understand. But to use your grocery store analogy, which I think is not bad, if you're going into the grocery store and you're looking at the soup, and there's chicken noodle and tomato soup next to one another, you're not offended that the chicken noodle is there too, right? Like, you can still get your tomato. Now, you might get a little bit mad if there were 10 chicken noodles and no tomato soup. You might get not mad.
So, hold on. No. Hold
on. Let me finish that thought, because like this is what you talked about before. I understand. But
go ahead. Just finish it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
If you have a profile where all you have on there are gym selfies, that's it. Like, you are one dimensional, which you probably aren't, but that might be your passion. State that that's your passion. Show a gym selfie or two, and then show like a little bit more range. And I think that that's okay. I'm not saying not to show gym selfies. I'm not saying not to show fish, but did you need to show 5 different type of fish you caught? Is that going to really attract that woman? Or the fact that you can fish and you like to fish, you like to be outdoors is enough? And you could show like, oh, I also like to cut the fish myself. I like to hang it on the hook. I like to eat fish. Like, you can do a lot of other things with it.
Right. But people are not trying, like, you're saying that trying to help the fish person, but what if the fish person rakes? Like, what if that guy does really well with the other fish holding women? And so my point is, to your analogy, to go back to because this, I love this. I'm glad you said that. If all you see is chicken soup and the tomato soup is like on the top shelf, really far back behind something else, don't get mad at the chicken soup. Get mad at the store for not putting the tomato soup in a more accessible place. And that's what we need to think about when we're doing this. Don't get mad at the other people. Get mad at the app. Get mad at the app for, as you always call it, gamifying. I've downloaded other apps. I've downloaded, ironically, we're talking about this, Plenty of Fish. And the app is impossible to navigate. Impossible. Because they're so caught up in selling me tokens and making me try to pay for this. That you're not, that's not what I'm there for. I mean, I'm there to just do research, but like if I'm there to find a match, it's incredibly frustrating. But stop getting upset at the other people who are out there looking for their version of lust, love, companionship, and get mad at the app, and then get rid of that fucking app and find another one that actually meets your needs. And that's what we're going to start helping people with, Scott. I'm done with like the making. I'll make fun of profiles. Don't get me wrong. Like you still make fun of bad singers on American Idol. We talked about, but like it's the apps. Like we need to ungame that system.
Right.
You and I, like we need to ungame that.
Look, I've talked since day one that those are totally gamified, and I think that it's hard enough to find love that you don't need to screw around and be played. You have games being played. You're going to have games being played by the people anyway. You certainly don't need the service that you're paying for, if you aren't paying for it, to be messing with you too. I'd rather them just say, you know what, don't spend $20 a month with a million things to add on or whatever it is. Like just pay us $50 a month and you could just see who you want to see. Like it becomes at some point it becomes like,
you know, the commerce of that. Like
I'm
paying totally for Hinge, but now all of a sudden I only get 1 rose a week, and now I have to pay for more roses. Like, guess what? I don't like that person that much. You're getting a rose next week. Like, but it's amazing how I'm already paying you a ton of money. Like, what the
right. And if it comes down to the fact, and maybe it does, I don't know. I haven't been doing this for long enough lately with how the apps have changed, but maybe if you believe that you're not going to be with the love of your life because you didn't pay for the read receipt, or you didn't pay for that rose, or you didn't pay for the power boost or whatever it was, guess what? Wasn't meant to be. Wasn't meant to be.
I am a big proponent, and I talk about this in a lot of the things that we've talked about on the show and that we've written, and that experts have talked to us about, Scott. Like there is something about being there in the moment. Like, yes, if it wasn't meant to be, it wasn't meant to be. We get so caught up in like, what if the next person I match with is my soulmate? What if the next person I match with is the best person I've ever met? And that could happen. It certainly could. But you do have to be there. You do have to actually put yourself out there. And so I wouldn't necessarily say yeah, don't buy the extra rose because you're the person you're imagining doesn't exist. But tailor your profile to find that person better. Correct. And so, yes, like there's ways to do it, but I also feel like there is some benefit to paying these apps because you do have more access and you do understand,
by the way,
so being there is necessary.
I'm all for paying for it. I think the point is that, and I agree with what you're saying, that you have to create your profile to attract the people that you want to attract. And that's individual for everyone. But all I'm saying is that instead of spending the money on 5 different apps with a crappy profile that has bad pictures and poorly written and doesn't actually say what you're looking for, take the time, get some help, make your profile stand out more, because you will benefit from the one app that you really like. More people will most likely better people, more, maybe quality
more
and
notice.
quantity.
I mean, absolutely. Like look, and I'm in a testament to this. Like I changed my photo, and my front photo is a really good photo of me, and the amount of clicks I get on that image is insane compared to other photos. Like it's just insane. So like put it, and we can teach people how to do that too. I know that that's something that we're working on. I'm not trying to turn this into necessarily a plug for us, although we certainly can help people if they want the help now. But to your point, and I go back to the grocery store thing, like don't get mad at the 4,000 items you don't want. Get mad at the store for not putting your items in a more accessible place.
Right. Yep. Well said.
What do you got?
Agreed. I think that was good. I think that you're in a good place. I know some days it doesn't feel that way, but I think you're in a good place to deal with this situation. I think your children are happy. I hope people listen and can relate to what we talked about today. And it just reminds me how much I do appreciate how long it's been that I've been on my own with my kids, and what a great place they're in right now. So I feel good about that. I feel good about me as a dad to them. And that's an easy way for me to leave it on this note. Kids first.